Ideally, I want to like live on a ranch, have some
Whoa,
kids.
you're gonna live on the where?
Yes,
In California?
Texas. No, not in California. I told you I don't
You're
intend
gonna
on
live in a
staying
fucking
here.
ranch?
Do you know how
And, like,
expensive
ranches
ranches
are-
are?
Ranches
really
are
need the
fucking
millionaire.
expensive.
Do you want some horses?
Oh my
You know how
gosh.
You really need to check your privilege.
Check your privilege.
I think that's what it is. I'm not trying to bash you for being again, like I've been there, I've done that, I've lived many lives, but
I guess my confusion here is if you acknowledge that the best thing for the children is to have one of the parents stay at home, why wouldn't you date the guy who makes 50M when you definitely don't have to work then?
It's just not something that I am interested in. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to raise my kids with $50 million.
Even though it's
So-
security for both of you.
So just, yeah, exactly.
Then my husband also wouldn't work. If we had $50 million, then
Sure.
we just,
He probably would. Yeah. I mean, if he's, let's say,
Buy an
maybe he
island.
wants to work though, and he, let's just say he's the wealth is at a level where he's like, well, I don't want to retire, but he makes a lot of money. I don't know. I'm just confused. Like, so you would rather like hustle and struggle and have a husband and perhaps even yourself that are going to have to work until retirement age or post-retirement age versus assuming in this hypothetical, a guy who makes $10 million a year, you wouldn't take that?
I just don't see that those people being the same kind of person. That's all I'm saying.
So here, I'll ask it super simply. Two options.
Yes.
You could date a guy, and he's a good guy, treats you well, whatever, you're attracted to him. He makes $10 million a year. Guy number one. And an entailment of that is you don't have to work. He's like, look, I'm making good money. You don't have to work. I'll retire you. Just take care of the kids, take care of the household, take care of the family, whatever. And that $10 million a year, look, you guys can.
But is he absent all the time?
Let's just say this. I don't know. He works. What's the average? 40 hours a week is the average. All right, I'll put it at 50 hours just because. He's a 10 million a year. Yeah, he's working above average. He's working 50 hours a week. Option number two. He makes $50,000 a year. And in order the financial reality of living in California or wherever you want to live, whatever, that's kind of secondary. You're going to have to work too. You're both going to have to work for the rest of your lives. Which man do you pick? And he's good and he treats you well and blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God. I would probably pick the guy that makes, you said $5 million or $10 million a year?
I
Works
think
50 hours a week.
10 million.
I would probably
10 million.
pick that because I don't want to work when I have young children.
Then what the fuck are we arguing about? Hello?
I'm just saying that I don't
Waste of
discriminate.
time.
I don't discriminate based on how much money you make. I don't ask questions of how much money do you make or Google what their job is or, I don't care. That's my only point. I don't know why we're stuck on this.
Well, no, but it got to a point where it wasn't just, look, if he makes 50. I understand that you'll date a guy who doesn't make a lot of money. That's totally fine. I have no qualms there. But then it got into this conversation about it's icky. Like
If somebody's sitting on 50 million.
if somebody has a lot of money, that's kind of icky. I would perhaps, I understand you don't care about it, but it's kind of like, I don't understand why you wouldn't just take it. Like, okay, two guys, they're equivalent. One makes $50,000 a year. One makes $10 million a year. Like,
They're never the same person.
the benefit though,
That's why.
the benefit that it would extend to you for a guy to be that wealthy, it's just, you could have a maid, you could have a private chef.
Maybe I don't want one.
All your expenses are, you'll never have to worry about money in your life again. People's number one stressors in life is like job and money and I got to pay the rent and my fucking healthcare. Everything. You date a guy, you marry a guy who makes 10M, you're good for life. All
can
that
stop-
stress is gone.
You can stop
and
working
she
and
won't
go
take it. I don't whatever.
take care of the
I don't get
cats
it.
you wanted to
When-
take
no,
care
but
of.
when you're working, it builds character, and it also
No, it doesn't. You're a slave for some
No.
bullshit corporation.
I
Working
fucking-
sucks.
It kind of reminds me of, like the little princess that wants to go out to see
No.
like the
dude, I've had
world.
so much. I've traveled a ton, and I've had a lot of different jobs, and I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. You're acting
boy.
like I'm some
You want
immature.
to struggle, basically.
I mean, it's
Sadism. Or no, sorry, masochism, my bad.
no.
But also,
It's
you-
not that I
you
want the
just
struggle.
said-
I don't think work is a struggle.
You just said
it's
that
a job,
you don't
and it's
discriminate, and then you're saying that people that are high earners are like bad people.
I'm not.
and
I'm not
absent
saying that they're
parents.
all bad.
That's
not what
it's
I'm
implied.
I said the chances of your children being, for lack of a better term, effed up is if you're a billionaire, it's higher than you would think.
Well, what about just like instead of going extreme with billionaire, what about just like a guy who makes like five M a year? Are your chances of being fucked up higher if your father makes that much money?
I don't know, but
Well, wouldn't that be an extension of?
Is there
Mo
like, a
money, mo
statistic?
problems.
Oh my God, it's completely backwards. Your chances, I think.
you think
your-
that. But what I've witnessed and what I've seen through my lifetime leads me to believe that when you raise your children to be entitled and rich and whatever, they end up.
These virtues can hold on.
But that's not.
These virtues can be instilled in children regardless of your wealth.
Yeah, it's not the money; it's the parents.
Yep.
For sure.
If if you spoil your kids, then yeah, sure, I guess. But
That's just not what I want.
Yeah, you
But-
got kids running around shooting each other in the hood. It doesn't make a
Right. Yep.
difference. Like,
yeah, that's a good point. Like, it seems like there's maybe a bit more crime in like neighborhoods where the socioeconomics are not that great.
My ideal situation, let me just like put it into perspective a little bit.
Like, are there gangbangers
No,
in Montecito?
ideally-
Like, no, there's fucking gangbangers in Compton, though, or wherever the fuck there's a bunch of and these are typically like you look at the socioeconomics of the neighborhoods where there's gangbanging, it's not a bunch of affluent, blah, blah, like, it's not an affluent neighborhood.
I understand. Ideally, I want to like live on a ranch, have some
Whoa,
kids.
you're gonna live on where?
Yes,
In California?
Texas. No, not in California. I told you I don't
You're
intend
gonna
on
live in a
staying
fucking
here.
ranch?
do you know how
And,
expensive
like,
ranch
Ranches
is?
are, ranches
really
are
need the
fucking
millionaire.
expensive.
Do you want some horses?
Oh my
You know how
gosh.
much
Yeah,
animals
horses.
cost?
Countrymen
Yes,
for
horses.
sure.
Horses are
so
expensive.
expensive.
Wait,
Here they
it's
are.
just. I think it's so.
They're expensive everywhere.
Yeah, the best thing you can get to your kids is like race car or a horse because they will never have enough time or money to do anything else that is stupid.
I think
I-
you really need to check your privilege.
Check your privilege.
I think that's what it is. I'm not trying to bash you for being again, like I've been there, I've done that, I've lived many lives, but I think you seriously need to experience what it is like to be the average man or woman working for $20 an hour. I think you really need to experience that before you go around saying that, all people who are rich
You think
are
I
just
haven't
losers.
done that? I've been a
But
server.
you haven't been low enough
But not have a
to
father.
be
Yeah.
thankful
Exactly. I
of
think-
getting the millions.
Okay, anyway, I'm moving on.
But just, I guess, final thing on this. You say that you think it's more likely that these kids are going to be dysfunctional if they grow up in a household where the parents are affluent. I think that's completely backwards. I think when you have money, that provides certain privileges and benefits for children. And look, it's certainly possible that, yes, maybe the kids could be spoiled. Maybe they have some sort of entitlement. I think that can be combated against by not spoiling them, by teaching them virtue, by teaching them modesty. Yes, father does well, but there's other things besides wealth that are important. Cultivate virtue. And a wealthy father can teach their kids that. Also, it confers a ton of benefits. Your wife can stay home and take care of the kids. You can send them to the best schools. They can have, great doctors. They can have their healthcare needs taken care of. They can have all these things that set them up to become the best person. Maybe you get them involved in sports and they can have like a personal trainer, or they can have like a private it's not a private, what in sports, like a private trainer. I don't know what it would be. You can really set up your kids in life with money in a way that's not going to make them like these spoiled brats, basically. And you can, not only that, your own life can be extremely comfortable. So I don't know, this defaulting to, oh, well, if you're wealthy, your kids are going to grow up and be worse off. What? That just doesn't, no. Aside from health privilege, like having good health, I think that's the best privilege you can have. Like if you are born and you have a bunch of health problems and you're born into a wealthy family, I mean, better than to have health problems and be born poor. But if you are otherwise healthy and you're born into a wealthy family, that's the biggest privilege you can have. That's going to set you up the best in life to, have a good trajectory in your own life. It's the number one privilege. But you don't seem to think so. You seem to think it's a negative. That's interesting.
My point is that I don't want to raise my kids with $50 million. I'm not looking to be uber wealthy and I'm not trying to date a millionaire. I don't know why this whole conversation is so controversial for you guys. It was not meant to be. It's just not what I'm looking for. I prefer like a more modest life.
So you think that money makes people who they are?
No, not necessarily, but it can absolutely corrupt you. Can we move on?
I want to move on. Again, we are
Please.
acknowledging that you'll date a guy who makes $50K. We understand that. But if the option presents itself to date a guy who makes $50M, okay. All right. I guess we'll leave it at that. We have a message from Pacey George here.